Hi, my name's Leo and I'm a boat builder and a sailor. A few years ago I bought a very old and quite famous wooden sailing boat for the price of $1, and since then I've been rebuilding that boat from the keel up with the help of a lot of amazing people. Now this video is about a couple of things. It's about the installation of the galley, which has been going on for a long time, and the chain plates, which are the metal straps that are attached to the side of the boat that hold the rigging up, which in turn holds the mast up. Now the chain plates themselves have been cast in aluminium bronze by Port Townsend Foundry, so they're really strong, really beautiful pieces, and Zeal's job is to install them to the boat. One of the first parts of that job is to drill the pilot holes for the main fastening holes, and he's drilling those from the outside of the boat in through the planking, the frames, and trying to hit the center of the bronze hanging knee on the inside of the frames, which is quite a difficult target. There's a lot of funny angles there, and it's pretty critical that they come out in the right spot, because these are the bolts that essentially are going to hold up the whole rig.
Pray for me. You're not supposed to film the first hole.
You're not supposed to say to the boat owner, pray for me.
But I'll say that to a friend.
Looks like you're hitting bronze at least, so that's a good start.
Oh my god, dude. Oh, it's right in the middle.
So now that we've got some very accurate pilot holes drilled through the hull and the hanging knees on the inside, we've actually sent the chain plates back to the foundry because we now know the exact location of those fasteners. So the foundry is going to drill them out and broach the holes for us, which means to make that hole square to accept the square part on the head of the carriage bolts that we're using. While we're waiting for that to get done, Zeal is going to install the whisker stay chain plates. The whisker stays are the shrouds that run horizontally and support the bowsprit from side to side. They're a lot smaller than the main chain plates because they have a much smaller load, and their placement isn't quite as critical, but they're still very important. These ones were made by Port Townsend Foundry as well. They're very beautiful, and Zeal has already drilled the fastening holes for those. He's now going to bed and bolt them onto the side of the hull. So we just saw Patrick making one of the first pieces of soleboard for the galley. Now the galley, in case you're not familiar, is the nautical term for a kitchen on a boat. And Patrick has been working in the galley for a long time, so some of the footage is kind of old, but he's also been doing a lot of other work in other places, and there's been some hold-ups. For example, we didn't want to do any final fitting in the galley until the chain plates were installed because Zeal had to do some work in that galley area on the inside of the boat. Right now we're going to see some more of the construction and installation of the galley, starting with some mock-ups and templates that we made to help get an idea of the proportions of the cabinetry.
Alright, so we're down here in the galley, and what I've been doing is just mocking up all the spots where all the stuff's gonna go.
You're a natural, dude.
So let me just give you a tour really quick of what's going on. So we've got sink right here, trash recycling, probably. This is all subject to change, by the way, so don't quote me on this. Fridge is gonna be right here. Drop down fridge. And then this is gonna be a little hatch for cutting boards or bottles of gin. So now that we got the proportions of our rails and stiles figured out, I'm gonna hop down to the wood pile and get some cherry and start cutting out all these pieces and assembling the face frame for the galley.
Looks great, dude.
Thanks, Nick. Camera's rolling, don't swear.
If y'all knew how much Patty farted.
Don't say that. My mother's watching this.
She knows.
Ooh, wow.
Wow.
What is it? What are you doing?
This is going to be a door in the galley that is right in front of the, what do you call it? The refrigerator.
That's a special boat term, that is.
Yeah. So it's a big wide door that's going to drop down and hold towels and stuff. And we're doing it in the old shaker style. Nice, minimal, yet classy.
That's cool. Kill him.
We need 2 people down here, and then you guys can drop it down to us. See? You can lower it.
Go.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Yeah, it's not gonna fit. Oh, wow. It actually fits pretty good. Oh!
Is that side to side? It looks pretty awesome.
Patty, how many tries did that take you?
This was first try. I'll vouch for him.
YouTube will never believe that.
I'll vouch for him.
It's crazy. From here, it almost looks like a sink.
It looks like a small bathtub to me.
That is super cool.
Alright, Patty, what's going on?
So we fit the sink yesterday. And we want to double check and make sure that it's going to stay in there. We want to secure the sink to the boat so that if it's rocking or if the boat flips over, then the sink stays in place.
The most important thing.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, so touch wood. That's not going to happen. But
So you've glued these cleats on?
so we glued the cleats on with a polyurethane construction adhesive. Waterproof adhesive, and we just want to make sure that it is super strong, so we're going to pick the sink up by the cleats on the glue and shake it around a little bit.
Cool. And
So
you've
that's the
chosen
sink.
to use the thinnest twine in the workshop to do this.
Absolutely, because we're
Excellent.
strength testing the glue and the twine at the same time. It's a double.
Alright,
So are we ready?
do it.
Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Holy shit.
Damn.
I'd say it's working.
I'm actually impressed. And just so people understand how heavy that sink is.
It's mad heavy. It's super heavy.
How heavy?
Super heavy. Quite heavy. Very heavy.
How many pounds?
I bet you it's like 80 pounds. The sink is probably like, God, I bet the sink is like 60 pounds. I think it's 60 pounds, but it's actually this much. So my main project for the last few months has been the galley. It feels like it took a week to build, and then a month to varnish, and then aggregate like a year to wait for appliances to arrive, and then an eternity for all the other stuff to happen, like chain plates and stuff, for me to actually install the stuff. And so here we are, a lifetime later, and there's a really cool galley. That didn't come off salty at all, did it? I love my coworkers. I love the supply chain.
What you working on, George?
The backrest for the settee. Trying to think my way through how to do the bevels on it, because this has to be angled at 10 degrees, and I know all the angles from square. It's too much math.
A lot of math.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, way back, dude.
That's nice.
Okay, that's enough of that. Now scooch over. I want to have a seat. Oh yeah, dude. Look at that galley, huh?
Yeah.
This thing could be like Tally-Ho's postmodern armchair.
Postmodern? I don't like the cracking noise.
Well, nothing's
You
actually,
like how I just relaxed and dropped all these?
nothing's actually gonna sit on that though. That's the reality.
That's true.
Nothing's going on
That's
there.
why we let Patty build it.
Leo goes, oh, it's not sporting any weight? Give it to Patty. He'll love it.
It doesn't need to be structurally sound. He's our guy.
He'll love it.
So Patrick's work on the galley is coming along really nicely. Meanwhile, we've got the main chain plates back from Port Townsend Foundry, and Zeal is going to be installing them really soon.
So every single hanging knee has 3 bolts going through them that are going to go out to mate to the chain plate to create a very strong joint and to simultaneously bolt these hanging knees and connect them directly to the rig. So they're all at different angles, and to be able to make all these holes so that the nut can seat square on the hanging knee, we are counterboring into the bronze, which is somewhat of a process. Ideally, you'd be able to set this up in a drill press where you could have an auto feed and you could apply some serious pressure, but we have a jerry rig set up here to be able to apply a serious amount of pressure to be able to cut the bronze effectively. On the inside of the boat, you counterbore so that the nut sits flat. On the outside of the boat, it's a carriage head, and every single bolt angle has been measured, and the head has been pressed and bent ahead of time so that when the bolts are seated home, they will lay flat and they're not going to end up trying to bend the chain plate as you're tightening the bolts up. It's going to, not dig in one side. You can see here this bolt is going to stick out like this. So that's where the chain plate is, on the outside of the boat. And at the top, it's much more square.
It's almost plumb.
So the chain plate's actually probably going at an angle like this on the outside of the boat.
Yep.
Where these hanging knees really like to be plumb.
So the weight of the rig is going to be transferred to the frames and with the hanging knee up to the beam shelf and into the deck structure.
Yeah.
So the whole boat is one.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Oh, it's beautiful.
So pretty.
You love to see it.
Love to do it. I've got a line lash on both sides that's crossing this whole hog. It's a Milwaukee drill. It's got a really low gearing and a lot of torque. And then what I'm going to do to apply pressure to the hanging knee is basically twist this to create tension. As I twist it more and more, you can see it tightens and applies the pressure. You can actually see this Purple Heart board bending a lot. You can see this thing's getting hot.
You know what I love about this technique?
What?
You're really giving a good test on the fridge mount.
Oh, am I bending it?
Not at all. It's bomber.
That's good.
I mean, this is as good a stress test as you can give.
There she is. Lost in my mind, do I get lost in my mind?
So the chain plates are fastened and they're looking really great. Of course, chain plates were fastened on both sides of the boat, but we only filmed the process on the starboard side. Now that they're fastened and Zeal doesn't have to work on the inside of the boat in that area, Patrick is free to install the appliances into the galley and then pattern and make up the worktop.
You guys got it?
I've got it. You got it? I got it. We've got it. You can.
Alright, cool. Put it in pretty good. You guys good?
Yep.
Home.
Well, and you're familiar with dancing
Up a
around
little
that.
bit. There we go.
Okay.
I'm just asking you a question.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to be in frame?
Yeah. Will you ask me why I spiled for the sink and not for the rest of the stuff?
Hey, Patty.
Yeah, Nick.
Why are you spiling for the sink and not all the other things?
Well, the sink is made of ceramic and it's got an irregular shape to it.
The sink is.
The sink. And so I had to spile around the sink to get the pattern to cut out from my countertop. But the rest of the stuff is more or less square and measurable. So I just measured it with measuring tools.
Cool.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Thanks, Nick.
I think we nailed it.
Got it? Yeah. So you gotta go on the other side. So we're in the galley. We've got this lovely stoneware sink and this beautiful solid brass faucet from Old and Elegant Distributors in Seattle, Washington. I've never been, but Leo tells us awesome stories every time he goes where they do a bunch of custom work on faucets and they actually stripped this chrome plating off of ours and revealed the solid brass underneath, so that's really nice. We've got a fridge under here, fridge slash freezer. It's gonna give us some great refrigeration slash freezeration. The fridge will be accessible by these hatches, which are gonna eventually get hinges let into them here, and then we'll be able to pull up and clip on to a hanging locker that's going to go up here eventually. We also have a bunch of spaces in the back here that are going to get cut out for dry food storage. Little movie magic. You're just going to cut that out, huh? Okay. We've got a gimbaling induction oven stovetop. It has knobs. Oh, okay. Yeah, storage underneath. And then you definitely got to check out the stainless steel cladding in here with some hyper custom stainless steel trim on the corners that also no one will ever see. We've got drawers here for cutlery, flatware, sawdust, sandpaper, and of course it's got the locking mechanism where it stays locked and then you lift up to pull the drawer out. And then it clicks closed. Pretty cool.
What's in this?
This is nice, right? So I hope that we can still do this, but I want to put a cutting board or a knife magnet back here so we can stash all our kitchen knives. It was a design challenge to figure out what to do with this big panel that covers the fridge. Just made sense to fill this giant space with another door, and hopefully, we'll figure out how to utilize that skinny space. But yeah, and then there's more storage down here. Really stoked to be like chopping tomatoes for the salsa bowl while little fires crackling. The starlit sky you can see through the skylight here. Everyone else is fast asleep and you're just getting ready for next watch.
So the majority of the galley has been installed. It looks fantastic. Patrick has done a great job. There is of course a lot more work to do. The appliances need to be wired in and hooked up. The faucet, the tap has not been installed yet. The fridge doors need more work. And then of course all the hanging lockers or the cabinetry up above the galley still has to be made. Now, galleys are one of those things that a lot of people have opinions on, and I'm sure there'll be lots of suggestions to things we could have done better with the layout and so on. With any design task, there's always compromises, and some of our compromises were to do with the area of sole available to us because of the shape of the boat and so on. So although a line galley might not be ideal, for example, it was just the best compromise in this case, and I think it's actually going to be a really nice galley to use and a nice space to be in. The chain plates are also all finished now, of course, and they look fantastic. A lot of different people put work into those in different ways. Bob did a lot of layout work and making the templates for the angles. The foundry, of course, made them, and Zeal did all the installation work, and they look great. It's a big step closer to actually getting out and sailing the boat. For now, though, thanks a lot for watching, and a massive, massive thank you to everyone who has donated or otherwise supported this project. It does make a huge difference. It means we're able to keep on doing this work and we're able to keep on making and editing these videos. So I really, really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.